So I'd first like to bring up Shana Steigerwalt. Woo! And here's the clicker.
I just use the middle.
Yeah. The right side.
Got it. Can I take this down?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to go in the back.
All right. Hello, everyone. I think I know quite a few people in here. It's been a little bit since I've been here, but it's good to see all of the faces again. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Shana Steigerwalt. I'm the founder of Modern Driven Media. We are a digital marketing agency based in Southampton. We started off specifically just working with social media. And now we've added on quite a few other services, all focusing around content creation. So that way people can find your business online and you're able to have conversations and build a community through social media. So I'm going to talk to you about Facebook and Twitter tonight. I want this to be interactive, and I want everybody to, ask questions as they come up. But first and foremost, Facebook, that is probably one of the most common social media channels that people are familiar with. How many of you are on Facebook as a business, not just personally, as a business? Okay. All right, so just to get an idea, I think this is going to help all of the speakers tonight understand what type of businesses that we have in here. Now, how many of you have a brick and mortar location? Okay. How many of you sell directly online where you're taking payments? Okay, and how many are looking to generate leads online to either build your services, book demos, things along those lines?
Shana, when people raise their hand, just give an estimated count for the record.
Okay, so it was a lot for the last one. Sorry, I was a little behind on that. Okay, but regardless of what it is that you're doing, you are in a human-to-human relationship. So you're trying to establish conversations, build relationships, and most importantly, build trust with people online. And social media is really that way that you're going to be able to do that. So a few tips. We're going to go through this. There's quite a few of us talking tonight. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to stop me. One of the most important things, if you are not online as it is for your business, or if you might not know if your page is optimized or not, making sure that your foundation is secure is going to be one of your biggest areas of success. Google is always looking to make sure the way you list your business is consistent all the way across the internet. So that's everything from Google to Yelp to social media, so on and so forth. So make sure you have a consistent name and a consistent URL, and that all of your contact information is up to date.
You're mic number 2. Okay.
I have a very important announcement. At the very end of this presentation, there will be a link and a QR code, so you don't have to take anything down that is on these slides. You will have access to this presentation, so only take down what is profound information that comes out of anyone's mouth. Thank you.
All right, so you're going to want to make sure that you have a consistent name, a consistent URL, all contact information. So that's address, that's phone number, that's website. And then you're going to want to make sure that you have important keywords. So I'm sure you guys have all heard about this little thing called keywords. That's how Google's finding you on your website, and it's no different for social media. There's specific keywords that people are searching for, and if you're talking about it enough, if it's relevant enough for your business, you have an opportunity to get in front of people that are looking for important things relevant to your business. And finally, I think this is something that a lot of people forget, is to make sure you have the right call to action on your profile. So, just like we asked earlier, what is it why are you on Facebook? What is it that your business is going to benefit from being on Facebook? Is it, to have a phone call? Is it to find out directions to your location? Is it to purchase a product? Is it to see a menu? Those are the important things that you're going to want to do first to optimize your profile. Encourage reviews. How many of you are asking for reviews online? Why not? So reviews, this is the one way that, you can talk until you're blue in the face saying that your business is the best. But when you have your customers saying that your business is the best, that's what people want to see. This is going to be an opportunity for you to really establish a good, reliable base of what people can come to expect when they work with your business. And oftentimes, the first thing that you need to do is just ask. That's the biggest thing. When people come into your business or people work with your business, they are expecting to have a good experience. People are much more likely, if they have a negative experience, to go find you online and, share that, right? So why not just ask? If you have consistent customers coming in time and time again, if they've told you how great you are, why not simply ask? There's easy ways where you can just send a follow-up email, link them directly to your Facebook page, and encourage them, but make it convenient for them, make it easy for them, and remind them that reviews are valuable to your business. And now a lot of you, yes.
Please use the microphone.
What do you say about negative reviews on Facebook? So if it's a negative review, you hide it, you delete it, you just let it go.
I think it's your biggest opportunity to mend a relationship. So you never want to delete reviews. I think that now, and feel free to chime in how you guys look online for yourselves. If you were to go and see nothing but 5-star reviews, you're thinking, oh, it's the cousins, brothers, sons, all family, relatives, friends that are commenting and leaving perfect reviews. But when you start to see, a few different reviews that are a little bit, off of the 5-star reviews, and then you see how the business reacts to it, I think that says a lot more about a business than if you're consistently getting good reviews. It shows that you're willing to help. It shows that you're willing to fix a situation. So you're never going to want to hide those reviews, but you are going to want to respond to them immediately. Take the conversation offline and then follow up with, hey, this is how we fixed the problem. This is how we were able to move forward from that. Has anybody had an experience like that where they've had negative reviews?
Because I didn't pay attention to Yelp and ended up calling the customer. And after 2 weeks of back and forth, they actually removed their own review, which was incredible.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think when people are really able to see you go the extra mile and really care about the relationships, at the end of the day, that's what social media is. It's all about relationships. So if you're able to start mending that relationship online, then people are willing to take the review down, willing to adjust the review. A 1-star review could easily go to a 5-star review if you really made that experience that much better. Prioritize engagement. So what many of you may or may not have heard is this idea of Facebook Zero. So basically what this means is organic. So posts that you're posting don't have any money backing behind it. Organic reach is dropping, and that's advertising's increasing. That's Facebook's really trying to make this whole entire user experience better. So what does that mean for businesses, right? Businesses need to focus on engagement and focus on content that's going to encourage people to share, comment, respond. You don't have to just sell to people online anymore. That's actually the last thing that you want to do. Ask questions, provide valuable content, encourage feedback, because that encouraged feedback, when they see people commenting and resharing and really having those conversations, that's what's going to be rewarded on Facebook more and more.
Can I ask you to clarify your last statement, that selling items on Facebook is the last thing you want to do? Did I understand that correctly?
So when you're on Facebook, right, your whole idea is that you want to sell, but you need to build a relationship first. If you're just pitching your product and pitching your product and pitching your product, nobody's going to want to follow you. They want to get something of value out of what it is that you're posting. So whether it's educating, whether it's entertaining, whether it's just asking for feedback, those are all things that are going to be consistent in a social media platform. If not, it just becomes an advertisement.
At what point do you ask for a sale if you keep providing the content that you just mentioned? Is it 4 pieces of content and 1 sales pitch, or is it 10-to-1 or 3-to-1, or what's the ratio?
I think it really depends on how consistent you are on social media. Now, that's one thing that people always have a little bit of confusion about. How often should I be posting? And really, it comes down to what works best for your business, how much content you have. You're going to want to be putting out value. So,
What do you advise your clients to do?
So we do a 10-3-1 ratio.
Which means what?
So 10 posts are to provide value, 3 posts are to drive traffic back to your website, and 1 post is to sell.
And does that work?
We have seen it work. Now, what we do, this is all organic. So we also mix in with paid advertising as well, which is actually the next thing that we're going to come across. But most important thing is you need to understand your goals. Oftentimes, and this was actually something that all of the speakers we discussed last week when we were all talking about what our topics were going to be, a lot of what it is that you're doing is going to be complemented through paid advertising as well. But you need to understand your goals. Social media isn't just to sell a product. Oftentimes, it's that first step into building a relationship with your consumers, with your clients, and you just need to have some brand awareness around what it is that you're doing. So that's educating again, that's entertaining again. And then, once you drive them back to your website, you might be doing different things on your website to then really help close the sale. So understand where social media fits into your marketing strategy. That's going to be the best way that you're able to move forward. Yes. So who knows what a CTA is? All right. So a call to action. So that is something that you are asking your followers to do. Understand what your call to action could be. It could be to read a blog to get more information. It could be to engage with a post because you need feedback. It could be to, buy your product. Understand what they are and use them throughout. So that way you're able to achieve your goals and really lead them to the next step in how they can help your business. And finally, create a budget. Now, for those of you who do have a business on Facebook, how many of you are putting money behind your posts? Okay, good. So again, you're getting into this pay-to-play type of relationship with Facebook. You know that organic reach is going down, so the posts that you're just able to type out, click, don't have to worry about putting money behind it, that reach is getting lower and lower. Now, one of the good news is about this, that Facebook is probably your best pay-to-play game. It's the cheapest way to get in front of very targeted people. But what a lot of people do when they have a budget, when they want to begin experimenting, they forget how important targeting their audiences are. So you might just be, I can help everybody within this area because at some point in time, my product or service is going to be relevant to them. No, you want to be very, very specific with the audiences that you're building because you want your content to be reflective to those audiences. You want to speak to their needs. You want to speak to their interests. You want to speak to their personality, their role in life. So my biggest recommendation for anybody who's trying out advertising, don't try to target everybody. Your message isn't going to be relevant to everyone. Think of who your best customers are and then work with that to then build out both content, written content, as well as visual content that speaks directly to them, because that's when they're going to feel like you understand who they are. If you go and try to target everybody, you're going to be really competing with everybody, and your marketing dollars aren't going to go as far. So make sure you understand your goals. Are you trying to increase engagement? Are you trying to drive traffic to your website? Are you trying to earn leads, grow followers? These are all important things that are very relevant across all of your social media marketing, but you need to understand what's most important to you to help you achieve your goals at specific times. Yes.
Gary, use the microphone, please. There's one on the table right in front of you there.
How specific can you get in terms of the demographics? The obvious ones, age, gender, location. But can you get down to a combination of all those and then start to throw in financial data, careers or industries that they work in, religious affiliations, or other community affiliations? So how specific can you nail it down?
Now, you can get very specific I heard you say financial data. Now that's something that you're going to have to start using third parties. So with everything, with all the breaches that happened on Facebook, they did take away some of their capabilities, their targeting capabilities. I specifically work with a lot of people within the automotive industry, and a lot of the automotive technology, or excuse me, not technology, a lot of the automotive targeting did start to disappear. But the things that you do have, all of the general demographics that you had already talked about. And then you're also going to start looking into interests, behavior, professions, job titles. So you can get very, very specific. And then you can also utilize Facebook pixels, which is codes that you put on the back end of your website. And then you can start retargeting the people that visit your website. So that's another way you can get really, really specific. But if you're just starting out on Facebook, and you want to start playing around with targeting capabilities, keep in mind, again, Facebook is a social network. So if you're able to tap into interests and behaviors, that's going to be what's more relevant to them in a social setting. So focus on that. Make sure you cater your content towards that. And then be sure to test, monitor, and change based off of the results that you see. You have tons of information that you're going to be able to get back from analytics, specifically on Facebook, to help you make good decisions about if you're reaching the right type of people or not, if people are engaging with you, and if people are meeting your goals. All right, so that's for Facebook right now.
Shana, before we go on to Twitter, can I ask the audience two questions real quick? So show of hands, how many people use Facebook and just one hand for you. How many people use Facebook in any way, shape, or form? Okay, almost everybody. Now, next question. How many people have ever purchased something as a result of seeing something on Facebook? Maybe 5 or 6 people. So there you go. Interesting piece of data.
All right, so Twitter. This is what a lot of people feel like when it comes to Twitter. Right? It's very fast. You feel like you can never keep up. You can never go through all through your feed. There's too many things going on at once. How can you possibly have a strategy around this for your business when you have 1,000 other things that you're worried about? You're not alone. So my biggest recommendation, I personally love Twitter because you can focus on the conversations. I think that being able to be reactive on Twitter, because it's a public domain, you're able to interact with conversations that are going on. Tap into the conversations that are relevant to your business. That's going to be a really great way to start engaging with people that are your ideal customers. Hashtags are a really, really great way to search some of these. So if you have a specific service or a specific product that you are able to jump in on conversations, this is going to be a way to do so. You're able to find people by engaging in those relevant conversations, and be sure that when you're posting yourself that you're using hashtags too, so those people can follow you as well. And then utilizing advanced search. So this is a little bit deeper. If you're going past using hashtags, this advanced search is available to everybody on Twitter. And basically what you're able to do is start picking out different keywords, different locations, different types of people that you want to begin conversing with. Again, I say I work in the automotive industry. So perfect example is how we use Twitter for an automotive service location. We look to put a geofence around their locations, and anybody that talks about getting a flat tire or breaking down, we automatically reach out to them. So sorry to hear that. Here is $20 off your next trip in. Hopefully we can get you back on the road safely. It's by tapping into those conversations and being a little bit reactive to how people are posting on Twitter, you're able to begin building relationships. You're able to get in front of people in real time based off of what they're dealing with. So again, you can do this with keywords, with different accounts, places, dates, sentiment. So if people are speaking positively or negatively about something. And creating lists. So this is actually something that I really, really like to do for all of my clients. So if you know that you have certain types of customers that follow you on Twitter, or perhaps there's just influencers that are in your space that are consistently putting out good content that you want to share, that you want to interact with to build up your customer base, By focusing on lists, you're able to segment your following so that way you have feeds that are a little bit more specific to whatever it is that you need. So if you have a customer list, you're able to just see what all of your customers are posting about and interact with them without getting sidetracked from anybody that's just relevant in your feed. You're able to do this both public and private. So it's also a great way to focus on what your competitors are doing. Instead of just going to each of your competitors' Twitter feeds, you're able to, put a bulk list together of all of your competitors so you can see in real time what it is that they're posting. Again, keeping it focused, keeping it segmented, so that way you can make the most of your time on a platform that's consistently moving. Yes.
So there's some means of effectiveness by doing this?
Hashtags are always a great way where you're going to be able to condense information together. So hashtags, they're just going to be able, by using them, you're going to be able to tap into conversations. Now you see them used more often on Twitter and on Instagram. However, all the social channels will pull them in. So that way, if you click on that hashtag, you'll see all relevant conversations that are including those hashtags as well. And finally, stay relevant. When it comes to Twitter, it's very easy to just get started in the most talked about conversation. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure it's relevant to your business. You don't want to just be chiming in for the sake of chiming in if it really isn't going to provide value at the end of the day to your business, to your clients, to your followers. So keep it consistent. Keep active. And, when it comes to Twitter and really moving fast, if you're able to dedicate 5 to 10 minutes a day just interacting on conversations, you're going to be able to keep up with the things that are going on Twitter, and make the best use out of engaging with your following. Does anybody have any questions about Twitter or Facebook?
I do have a question. What is the best day of the week to be on Twitter? I think there's Tuesday trends, Wednesday something, and then I don't know.
Yeah, it's really going to depend on your audience. And that's why it's so important to be able to use analytics across all of these platforms, because what might be relevant for your business could be completely irrelevant for another person's business. So understand your demographic, understand how often they're online, understand if they are on Twitter. That's a big thing. If your audience isn't on Twitter, then maybe that's not the place that you need to be. So there are a few days, you do have a lot of things that go trending on Twitter on Tuesdays just because of those hashtags and everything like that. But unless it's relevant to your audience, that's what you have to make sure. Do your research, check in with your analytics, and see what days are best for you when you're posting online.
Can I ask the same two questions about Twitter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many people use Twitter in one form or another? Okay, maybe a third. How many people have purchased something as a result of reading something on Twitter? One. Okay. Interesting data.
All right.
Grab the microphone, please.
Yes.
Please use the microphone so we can hear you.
Could you expand a little bit on creating lists, like clients and competitors, where to begin on that? If I had a tablet in front of me, I guess I could start searching, but if you had a couple of starter tips, that would be helpful.
Sure. So you'll be able to create lists by just grouping different followers together. So once you go onto your feed, you're going to have the option to build a list. You're going to choose if it's private. Now that's completely up to you. If it's public, that's how people can start engaging in with conversations that are going on in that feed. I personally recommend keeping client list and competitor list private, just because, that's your own personal data. You don't need anybody getting into any of that. It's just good for you. And you simply just add the followers that you want to see in that list. So it doesn't have to be done all when you first build the list. You can continue to add to it over time as trends change, as things change. And then basically it just serves as its own Twitter feed, just segmented to whatever it is that you want to see for that. Yes.
Have you seen a lot of success advertising on Twitter versus Facebook?
I personally, and now I'm sure everyone's going to have a different opinion on this that's speaking today, I personally like Facebook advertising the best. But again, I think that just has to do with a lot of my clients. They have stronger followings on Facebook, and it's a little bit more interactive with what we can do. So I personally prefer Facebook. However, I've seen Twitter be very successful as well. It just really depends on who your audience is and what you're trying to accomplish.
All right, let's give Shana a round of applause. Okay, next I would like to introduce Aliya Hammond. She's going to talk to us a little bit about Instagram and Pinterest. Now, for those of you who have been attending this consortium for a while, you might recognize Aliya. She was here back in September when we did social media for profits and nonprofits, and she was on a panel. So we're doing things a little bit differently tonight with speakers speaking individually rather than a panel. So I welcome Aliya back. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me back again. It was a lot of fun last time, and I know that tonight is going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully you're going to get a lot of really great information that can benefit you after you leave here. All right, so I am going to share with you 5 Instagram tips. So tip number 1, the first thing you want to do with Instagram is you want to optimize your bio. And before I get into some of these tips, how many of you are using Instagram personally? Okay. And how many are using Instagram as a business? Okay.
Say the number for the record so we have a record.
It seems like it's about, I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe 10 or 15 people, and it seemed like it was evenly split. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is you want to optimize your bio. You want to include a profile picture, and your profile image can be either your company logo, or if you are the face and brand of your business, it can be your professional headshot. Then you want to provide a brief description about the products or services that you offer. You want to include a CTA, which is your call to action. In other words, what do you want people to do while they're on your bio? Do you want them to visit your website? Do you want them to download something? Whatever it might be. You want to add a link to your profile image. On Instagram, your profile page is the only place that you can add a clickable link. So you want to make sure that you have a link available so people can visit your website. You want to add a hashtag or company hashtags. Sometimes people are trying to generate they're trying to get user-generated content so that they can use that as content for themselves to continue to post content for their own feed. So if you have some kind of hashtag available, share that on your bio so people can follow it. You want to also include contact information. If you are a business page, you have the ability to set your contact information in terms of your email address, phone number, and if you're a location-based business, then you can put your location in there as well. And by the way, you know, this is social media, you know, and this is about, you know, having a dialogue, not a monologue. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to stop and ask, okay? So tip number 2, if you are a personal profile right now, you definitely want to convert to a business page. And the reason you want to convert to a business page is because it's going to allow you access to Facebook's ads dashboard. If you don't know already, Facebook owns Instagram. So having that ability to connect to Facebook's ads dashboard is a huge plus. In addition to being able to connect to the Facebook dashboard, you can also run ads through the Instagram app as well. So you can promote one of your pictures on the application. You also want to have the ability to measure your results. You want to see how well you're doing with your posts. You want to see which individual photo is doing well, how many comments you have, how many likes you have, so that you can hopefully duplicate that success again. Growing a following. This is a question that I get quite a bit. It doesn't matter which social media network you're on. Everybody wants to grow a following. What I've found with Instagram is Instagram has an incredibly engaged community on there. And it's relatively easy to grow a following if you are engaging with people on Instagram. You want to leave genuine comments on people's posts, not wow, love it, thumbs up, or an emoji. I mean, really have a conversation, really share with someone, what you thought of their picture, ask them a question so that, you can get a response back. Because the idea is about engaging and having that conversation. You want to respond to any comments that are left on your images right away, because chances are that person may still be available if you're responding within an hour of them posting on your photo. You want to be helpful and share share useful tips with people. Depending upon what type of business you're in, some people are sharing tips to help people and bring value to whatever it is they're trying to do. So share helpful tips. Maybe you're someone who loves to share inspiration. Those are always great because you never know whose life you're going to touch and what kind of day they're having. You want to post visual and emotional content consistently. Instagram is a photo sharing app and a video sharing app, so you want to try to make sure that your images are really going to convey something that's going to get people to hopefully like and engage with your photo, as well as to maybe visit your profile and, see what else you have to offer, and then hopefully they'll follow you. You want to research and use hashtags. Instagram is all about using hashtags. So if you're not using hashtags on your posts, then you're not going to be found in the feed. You're going to get maybe 1 or 2 likes from the people that see you if they're online. But using those hashtags on your photos is really going to help you to be found within the Instagram community. Yes. That's a great question. So that's a great question. The maximum number of hashtags you can have on Instagram is 30. And the sweet spot is anywhere between 7 and 11. And I believe 11 is supposed to be the best number. But honestly, I don't think anybody is really counting. You want to use the follow hashtags feature as a way to discover and connect with new audiences. This is a feature that became available, I believe, last year or the year before, and it really does help you to find new audiences. So as you're scrolling through your feed, you'll all of a sudden see a hashtag that you're following, and all of a sudden you're seeing a new picture from somebody you never thought to follow. So you may go to their feed and see like, oh, wow, they've got great stuff. I definitely want to, keep following this person. And then you just follow them just because of, following that one hashtag. You also want to use stories to draw attention. Stories is a great way for you to share content that you don't necessarily want to keep on your Instagram profile. So it could be a day in the life, like if you had something going on all day and you're just kind of sharing, a little bit of your story with people, and then you can entice people to come back and see additional photos and videos that will live on your Instagram page. But stories is a great way to draw attention to your account. Yes.
Gary, you know what to do, Gary.
Are there demographic information on hashtags?
Demographic information on hashtags. That's a good question, and I'm not quite sure of that, because usually when I'm looking for hashtags that are going to work with the content that I'm posting. But I have some tools that I'm going to share with you, and one of them is going to talk about hashtags and how to find the best hashtags.
Aliya, this may be, I'm not sure if this is a good question at this point in your presentation or later on, but like we discussed on our conference call, the idea of all of this is to get people to basically come into a sales funnel. So where does this social media platform rank in terms, that's the wrong question. Where in the sales funnel do people who follow you end up using this platform?
So here's the thing. Every social media network has a different, audience demographic. And Instagram has a much younger audience demographic than Facebook does. So you really kind of have to think and decide like if your particular audience is going to be on this demographic and what types of products and services are you selling. So there are people on Instagram who, social media training courses or fitness or lifestyle or maybe or food or whatever it might be. So in terms of like, the sales funnel, I would have to say it really depends on, whatever it is that you're trying to sell.
So what's the census of age ranges that use this?
So
let's say 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20.
So the age demographic for Instagram, the most popular age demographic, and I'm doing this off of memory here, I believe it is 18 to 34 is the most popular age demographic. I can double check that for you later when I get home. But that is the most popular age demographic for Instagram. So the audience is a little bit younger, whereas on Facebook you have a much wider range in terms of, people who are using it.
Well, that encompasses the entire group of millennials.
Yes.
So they have pretty good purchasing power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
And I can just tell you just from personal use with some of my friends and family, the majority of my friends and family are actually on Facebook, and my younger friends are on Instagram. I am personally everywhere because of the nature of what I do, but it's interesting to see, where my friends and family actually spend most of their time. And my older friends are not really on Instagram.
There was a hand raised. Yeah.
So there's a useful piece of data that we came across a few weeks ago. Pew Research Center did a study in 2018, and they profiled all the major platforms, stratifying it by the demographic of age, income, gender, etc. So you can look at every one of the channels and see where your target audience happens to be, and that will give you guidance as to where you might want to focus.
Yes,
It's
that
called the
is
Pew Research Center.
Pew Internet Research, and that particular article, I'm very familiar with it because they don't update it every year. So it's called social media usage, and if you just Google it, it will come up and it will tell you all of the different age demographics and who's using what, men, women. So it's excellent.
Yep, I'm on. Okay. Could we also post it on the meetup, in the comments in the meetup? That'd be great. Thanks.
I can also put it in the index of the YouTube video. So if somebody, Carrie, if you can provide me with that link, I'll include it in the YouTube video.
Okay, so tip number 4 is you want to make your page visually appealing. You need to think of your Instagram page as a store. You want to make it look beautiful to attract new followers. You want to plan your content out in advance instead of, thinking of it as ad hoc. Oh, I'm doing something today, I'm just going to post something up. Because what winds up happening when you do it ad hoc is it doesn't quite look the way you want, and also you may forget to post, the next day. So thinking about how you're going to make your page stand out and really look good. You want to, again, post consistently, as well as you want to be authentic. On Instagram, I believe that people are a whole lot more authentic. It's always really nice to see those finished and touched up photos, but there are some people who are really real about, things they have going on. So they might say, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, and people might think that, an entrepreneur's life is fantastic. But what you really don't see is, how many hours I'm staying up late at night, trying to get this stuff done so that, this can happen. And, I think that when you're real on Instagram or any other social media network, people, can relate to that sort of stuff as opposed to seeing the stock image or the finished image. So some tools for Instagram. The first tool I'm going to share with you is called Planoly. This is my favorite tool. I absolutely love this because it allows me to see what my Instagram profile is going to look like before I start scheduling anything out. One of my clients is a bridal consultant, and we have so much content this is probably the only client that I've ever had that has had this amount of content. So much that I don't even know what to do with it sometimes because it is just a lot. But she has a lot of beautiful dresses to share. Right now we're in the prom season, so we've got a lot of prom dresses that we're trying to promote. And using this tool, Planoly, actually helps me to plan out that content. So I'm going to just go back one slide so you can see what that looks like. So the slide over at the far right, with Planoly, I was able to do a 9-grid tile. You can also do a 6-grid or a 3-grid tile. And again, you can see how all of this, looks in the feed, and it really looks great. People have come over to our page and they're like, wow, this looks great. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I think it looks great too, So it's a great tool to use. It's called Planoly, and there is a free version as well as a paid version available. The next tool that you should use on Instagram would be Linktree. And on Instagram, you can only have the one link in your bio. Linktree is a very wonderful tool that will allow you to have more than one link destination page. So what you do is you sign up for Linktree, you put that Linktree right into your bio, and then you can add different pages that you want people to click through on Instagram. There's a free version for that as well as a paid version. Boomerang is another application that you can use. Boomerang is owned by Instagram. It is a standalone app as well as an app that is available within Instagram. Boomerang creates short looping videos. That's always another fun thing that you can do to try to get people to engage with you, and that's free as well. Layout is owned by Instagram. If you're looking for ways to create collages, that's another tool to use. Repost or regram is another tool that you can use. So, for example, if you wanted to repost somebody's image, you use repost, and then that information comes over to your page along with the original poster's information. It tags them, and it brings along their copy as well. Lead tags is a really good tool to use if you are trying to search for hashtags. Lead tags is very no frills. So you put in your hashtag that you're looking up, and then it tells you the most popular hashtag under that specific word that you're looking for. You can remove the words that you don't want, and then you can actually copy and save that information in lead tags as well. And that's a free application. Iconosquare is great for measuring the data and analytics from your Instagram account. Yes, you do get free analytics and data from the app on Instagram. However, if you're trying to report that information back to the powers that be in your office, it's actually a little bit difficult to do it from the app, because then you would have to take screenshots, email it to yourself. With Iconosquare, it gives you a lot of rich, robust information in terms of being able to see which hashtags are the most popular, which filters you're using that are most popular, what photos got the most likes, and things of that nature. It's not free. I can't remember how much it costs, but it is a really good investment if you are looking for something that's going to give you a lot of information about the analytics of your Instagram page. Then there's also Buffer, Hootsuite, or Later. These are all scheduling tools that you can use on Instagram. So to help you, schedule your content out. So all three of these will do the same thing. They do have paid applications as well as free applications. Any questions on any of these tools? Yes.
Is all these all the time?
Actually, you know what? Every single one of these I've used. Yes. Yes. So I'm currently using Linktree for several of my clients as well as my own Instagram. Boomerang, I use it all the time because it's just fun. Layout, I use. Repost, yep. Everything here. Yes.
So I was told I could put a PayPal link on a painting and sell it right from Instagram. But would I have to use something like Linktree to do that? I'm not finding anything.
You could put, if you need to put like a PayPal link, you probably could do that, and you could probably use Linktree. But I would say, check out Linktree and set it up and then see what you can do with it.
Because you can't put it right on
You
the
can't
post.
put it on the post, no. But you can direct people to the page of the item that you want them to purchase from. So yes, you could do that, but you would have to do it through Linktree.
I have a question about Boomerang.
Mhm.
How long are the videos on there? Can't be too long.
They're really short. They're like 3 seconds. So, it just
3 seconds?
Yeah, it just takes looping videos. So like if you're doing something like you're, doing a high five, it'll just kind of repeat that motion of the high five. Does somebody else had a question? Yes.
Use the microphone, please.
What's your favorite planning one? Planning application.
Planning application, I would have to say Planoly.
It is, okay.
It has really changed my life in terms of being able to plan things out the way I want, because you can actually move things around in there. Like you can schedule your stories, you can schedule videos, you can move everything around the way you want.
Meaning like you can click and drag?
Yeah.
That's cool. Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Can you explain how you do a story on Instagram? How does that work?
It's a bit of a longer discussion in terms of setting it up, but if you have like a photo that maybe a series of photos that maybe you want to share in terms of setting up that story, you just add it, under the stories feature. You can add some text to it. You can add stickers to it. If you want to ask people a question or do a poll, you can add one of those stickers to it. And then you just, add it to your story. Then you can add another one right after. And then you can just keep on adding. And I believe the most that you can add on there would be about 100. I read a blog article. It was actually quite a funny story about a person who was so excited about their trip to Thailand that they just kept sharing pictures in their story on Instagram, and all of his stories started becoming like little dots as opposed to long lines. And then he realized, like after he got to 100, that he couldn't post any more for the day. So,
Aliya, I have a quick question for you. So you told us that the bridal gown company was one of your good clients.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us briefly what you do for them and what kind of results they're getting from what you do for them?
So we do the social media management and marketing for them. And we are doing, as well as we're managing their website. So we're constantly marketing and promoting their bridal as well as tuxedos and prom dresses for their potential clients. So we're scheduling content on all of their social media networks. The website needs to be updated whenever she goes shopping and gets new dresses. All of that stuff needs to be updated. We do sliders and graphic images for her. So.
And you're driving people to their website? Is that the goal? Is that the goal?
No.
What's
the goal is to get them into the store, because we can't put all of the dresses on the website. So the copy for our posts are always, schedule an appointment, and we give a phone number. So we want people to call and book an appointment.
And do you have any data on those results?
I do, but I can't really share that.
Can you summarize it in some way that you can share without revealing anything confidential?
Right now we are running some ads to get some more traffic in the store for the girls with the prom dresses. And, with advertising, it's always a little, up until you find your right audience, it's always a little challenging trying to, find that target audience. But from my conversations with the client, she has seen an increase in traffic in the store in terms of getting the girls in the shop to get those dresses.
For prom dresses?
Yes, prom dresses.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes. Use the microphone, please.
2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Planoly, let's say I decided I'd like to schedule out 6 months of posts, so I don't have to mess with it. And it's just I can have somebody check in and answer people, but I don't have to actually do the posts every 2 or 3 days. Will Planoly actually schedule and then publish?
Yes, it will publish it. If you have it set up so that it auto-publishes, then yes, it will.
And is there something that will do that to both Instagram and Facebook at the same time?
I'm not 100% sure if you can connect Facebook for it to schedule to Facebook, because this really is specifically for Instagram. And here's the other thing, I never share the same content on every network. So we might be sharing something different on Facebook than we're sharing on Instagram. And I do a lot of different stuff on Instagram. So like that 9-tile grid, I would have shared that picture on Instagram, but I wouldn't have shared it, it's just being shared differently, and it might be shared at a different time.
Thank you. Second question is, so my product I sell to people that have earning power, significant earning power. I don't think I've sold anything to anyone under the age of 30 ever. So does Instagram reach those folks that are married, have kids, or, have you seen it be an effective tool? I've been using it for 2.5 years, had a marketing company using it for us. Never, ever heard of anyone either looking at Instagram or calling us off of it. And I'm wondering if people just check it before they call. They always talk about, oh, the website. We saw the website. It's beautiful. But do people look at Facebook and Instagram to confirm their suspicion, or do they actually call off of it to purchase?
So from what you were saying is that you work with people who are 30 and up. So again, the demographics on Instagram are going to be different. So you may not, get that type of business or traffic that you were looking for from Instagram. However, it's still good to have a presence there, because maybe the content that you're going to share there is going to be a little bit different than necessarily trying to like market and sell something to someone. With Facebook, as Shana said, it's about the whole know, like, and trust factor. You've got to get people into that sales funnel. So you could share the same things on Facebook and Instagram in terms of, putting together a piece of content that's going to bring people value, and then, slowly work them into your funnel to see if you can get them to, make a purchase at the end.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We sort of need to move on because we're going to run out of time here.
Okay. So let's talk about Pinterest. How many users do we have in here on Pinterest? Okay. How many
About 5.
How many are using it for business? Okay.
3.
All right. So Pinterest, if you have a Pinterest profile and it is a personal profile, you want to convert it to a business page. And the reason you want to convert it to a business page is because it's going to allow you access to the ads dashboard as well as to the Pinterest analytics. Once you do that, the next thing you want to do is you want to claim your website. Claiming your website allows you to get the little blue check mark and makes you verified on Pinterest. And this will also give you more information. So when people are pinning information directly from your website, you're going to get that analytic data from there. This also makes you look good. It helps to build that know, like, and trust factor as well by having that little blue check mark. And then you can do this by just you can claim your website by going to the settings feature on Pinterest, as well as once you get that information, you may need to work with your web developer in order to get that all set up. The next thing you want to do is you want to optimize your Pinterest page. You need to treat your Pinterest page just like a store. You want to organize your boards so that everything looks pretty and beautiful, so that when people come there, they're like, oh, wow, this is, eye-catching and appealing. And so they'll click on your boards and then hopefully click on, a product that you might have, and then click right through to your website and make a purchase. You want to utilize the featured boards in the overview section of your Pinterest page. That's a really good way to showcase a few items if you want it. You want to place your most relevant boards at the top of your Pinterest page. And your most relevant boards would probably be your products or services boards. And you want to be consistent with naming your boards. So the example that I showed you here is from this company called As Seen on Us. So they have their ASOS. Can anybody read? Can y'all read that? Oh, okay. Sorry, y'all. Well, they have different boards that they share.
We're 50 and up here.
50.
We're 50 and up in this room. So
sorry, y'all, but it's As Seen on Us. So if you go on Pinterest, you can look up As Seen on Us, and they have a really wonderful Pinterest page. So all of their boards are, featured different clothing lines that they may have, or things that they're marketing and selling. It could be user-generated content that they're sharing. So they have like their spring collection, they have a winter collection, they've got, you know, lipstick or whatever it might be. But they do a really great job of showcasing their items on their Pinterest page. Some image tips. You need to think vertical when you're on Pinterest because the Pinterest home feed features images that are long and tall. The most popular pins have these elements in common. Pins with little background and moderate to light colors, multiple colors on them. You know, if you're showcasing some kind of food, people don't necessarily like to pin things that have human faces on them. So a lot of times when you look on Pinterest, you might see a beautiful gown and then the person's face is like chopped off like in the middle there. And then you want to use things that have like warm tones like reds and oranges for pins as well. You want to pin consistently. You want to be authentic and pin content that's going to inspire, educate, and entertain. You want to pin compelling images that people are going to want to share over and over again. You want to pin your content as well as other people's content. You want to use rich pins, and rich pins include just a little bit of extra information on the pin itself. So if you go on Pinterest and let's say you're looking for a recipe and then you click on that pin, it will have the recipe information on there. This is a feature that you're going to need to apply for Pinterest in order to get that data. But some rich pins that you can see, some 4 types are apps, recipes, articles, and products. You also want to participate in group boards. Group boards are a really great way to grow your following and to find new boards to follow. You can look for boards that are going to fit your niche, and then boards that might have a higher number of followers on them. You can request an invitation to be a pinner on that group board, and the either accept or reject you. So, do we have any questions on Pinterest? Yes.
A question about the pins. The pins are geotagged.
No, I don't believe they are. So you can pin things directly from a website. You can also pin from your desktop as well.
Okay.
Yes. That's a good question. So Pinterest typically favors college-age young women, and you know, use that Pew Internet Research because I can't remember the exact number, but it's got some good information. But it's usually college-age young women, and it's always Pinterest seems to like have a lot of people who are interested in fashion and weddings, you know, food bloggers, things of that nature.
College-age young women, no men?
Men are starting to pick up, and honestly, I love Pinterest for the infographics. So there's a nice technology section on there. So on my Pinterest account, I've got several different boards, you know, from like Twitter, Instagram, whatever it might be. But, you know, the infographics I think are fantastic because they have little bits of information on them, some visual, and they also work well in the Pinterest feed.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I won't do it as Donald Trump this time. As far as all these 3 that you've talked about, for B2B, I don't see them being as big in those areas. Are you seeing a lot of businesses use them in the B2B environment?
So
Facebook and or the 2 you mentioned?
With Instagram and Pinterest, it really depends on the business that you're in. So one of my clients is a kitchen cabinet manufacturer, so he's B2C, but he does very well on Facebook. He does really well on Pinterest because he really gets a direct click through on that. And then Instagram, he seems to be picking up some speed on as well. So it really just depends on the industry you're in. For myself, you know, I'm really more of a B2B. I spend a lot more time on LinkedIn and focusing my efforts and energies on that. Okay. All right.
Specifically, as long as you know who your audience is. Oh, thank you. Yes. Mm-hmm. No, not necessarily big. I mean, they're getting bigger, but they're a technology company, so they help small shop owners. So what they're able to do, they just tap into, you know, commonly common struggles that they deal with, and they try to answer questions. So before they ever pitch their products, they really showcase some of the problems and struggles that they deal with, and then they're able to build that much more of a rapport. But again, Facebook works for them just because that's where that demographic is.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, let's give her a round of applause. Guess what? I get to introduce myself. So my name is Lynne Williams. I teach 11 hours worth of LinkedIn content. So you're getting all of about 10 minutes with just 5 tips. I teach 3-hour workshops at the Chester County Library in Exton once a month on a Saturday. They normally fill up. There's a wait list, but I still encourage everybody to come because you can sit and listen in lecture mode, even if you don't get a computer for hands-on experience. But next Tuesday at Stacks here in Doylestown, I will be presenting my premier presentation on LinkedIn. It's called Strategic Research-Based Approaches to LinkedIn. And it's a 2-hour workshop, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., so I hope that you will be there. Okay. That Stacks is 52 to 54 Oakland Avenue. So there's a paper. When we wrap up, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And I think other people have things to share. So we'll do the sharing at the end. I just wanted to put that in there so you know you're only getting 10 minutes worth here. Okay, the first thing is you really need to have 500 connections on LinkedIn so that the algorithm works in your favor and goes out. You got to just keep connecting. So at the very end here, I ask you to make sure you have the LinkedIn app on your phone downloaded. So you have to go to the App Store for that. It is free to download. And we will be doing the Find Nearby so that we can all connect together. It's real-time live. When everybody gets off of it, it dies. So it'd be only the people that are really here in this room. So you want to consider LinkedIn as, honestly, it's networking on steroids. If you are in sales, there's nothing called a cold call anymore. There's all kinds of warm leads and introductions that can be made. The demographics on LinkedIn are incredible. It's very well-educated, very highly paid people that are on LinkedIn. You definitely want to customize your LinkedIn URL. I noticed that when I went to look up some of your LinkedIn profile URLs for the sheet that you've been handed out, there are several people who have not taken that 30 seconds to do that. And it's a one and done for life. So you don't want to put out anything on business cards or brochures or resumes or anything like that unless you've done that personal branding. And you really want to do more your first name, last name than any kind of company name or business, in my humble opinion, because this is people looking for people. So if you were thinking about, okay, how do we find Lynne Williams on LinkedIn? Well, the string is linkedin.com/in/, and then what's logical? What's logical is somebody's first name and last name, or first name dash last name. Your keywords have to be incorporated in several areas. The first is your headline. Your headline is 120 characters. You will find some symbols in my headline. They don't do absolutely anything other than add a fun factor. Your words have to be, in my humble opinion, in and of themselves as you would find them in a dictionary, meaning that you would want to have a space before and after the word. So a lot of people are in sales/marketing. I would suggest that best practices on LinkedIn would be sales space/space marketing, or better yet, sales space pipe. That's the up and down / pipe marketing. Your summary is 2,000 characters. If you've got paragraphs in your summary, I believe that nobody's going to read them. According to the research I did for my doctoral dissertation, goldfish have an attention span of 8 seconds, while humans have an attention span of 7 seconds. So you can have a value proposition that is, maybe 2, 3, 4 sentences. Hopefully it's human to human, little fun factor, show that you are a fun person and tell a story a little bit and tell why you love what you do rather than what you do. And that's just a discovery I've made in the past couple weeks. I've changed my philosophy for those clients in the room here. Anyway, I also believe you need to put a lot of keywords in there. So I put lists in alphabetical order of bullet points of all keywords that I do research on LinkedIn before I even come up with that list. Your job titles. Well, you could be VP of sales. Well, of what? I think you can expand your job titles and embellish them up to 100 characters so that you can add those keywords onto the job titles. So if you are a WordPress developer slash website slash graphic arts slash content marketing, you could fill that job title up with all those other keywords. So don't waste that opportunity with those 100 characters. Your skills and endorsements, you can have 50 of them, so by all means, have 50 of them, and those are also keywords. And your projects and publications, those are not only the titles of what you put as the project and publication, but also the description. Any questions so far?
You do 2, 3, 4 different things, not related at all. Is that good, bad? Can you have more than one LinkedIn, one for each of your 3 different areas of that you are seeking customers?
Okay, that is it depends. I guess everybody's situation is individual, and there's no one right way or wrong way to do a LinkedIn profile. It needs to work. Okay, it needs to work so that you get found to find a job if you're a job seeker. It needs to work so that you are found as an entrepreneur to get clients. So it's keyword driven, just like anything else. And LinkedIn is an incredible database. And I don't know if you ever heard of Boolean searches, but Boolean is and or not in caps. And you can do Boolean searches on LinkedIn. And if you go back to, what month was it? August or something last year. There's a video on Don's, the buckscountymarketing.org website that says how to build your email list fast. And that will show you some interesting ways of digging into that database. There's something? No? Okay. So projects and publications. Some people have confidential writing that they do, so they will not be able to publish the URL, but other people do write online. If you look at my projects and publications, I put out a weekly post for Vista.today in Chester County and Pivot.today in Delaware County, and I do LinkedIn tips. So aside from posting those articles with the LinkedIn tips out in my various places in social media, I also put them and publish them on my LinkedIn website. And by the way, less than 2 weeks ago, I was at LinkedIn training LinkedIn at LinkedIn to a group of vets. So that was a pretty cool experience. One thing that I've learned along the way in taking an XHTML course and Dreamweaver course is that I can apply transferable knowledge that I learn in building websites, which I don't do, by the way, to LinkedIn. And I believe that you should take the advantage of creating a meta tag for your photo, banner, or any other media on LinkedIn. So what you want to do is you want to use dashes, not underscores, in between all your first name, last name, and all the keywords before the .jpeg. But because I believe Google indexes things a certain way, you can't have the same meta tag for your banner as your photo. You have to make something slightly different. So for the photo, I use photo, and for the banner, I use banner. Now, you're going to ask me, how many characters can I have before the .jpeg? The answer is 256. Now, are there any Google experts in here? I've been asking everywhere I go. I just heard 2 weeks ago that Google indexes the first 66 characters of the title tag. So is first 66 characters of this?
So there's two different meta tag structures that Google recognized. One is the title tag. That's 66 characters. Technically, it's in pixels, but we won't confuse the group with that.
Okay.
And second is the alt tag, which I believe can go as high as about 160 or so characters.
I think 156.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they allow more room for the photograph characterization.
Okay, so where did I get the 256 from when I went to Technology Professionals Networking Group and asked a bunch of geeks?
Maybe the meta description, which is a little bit more, but that's changing all the time because Google's always experimenting with it.
Well, I haven't actually counted these up. So the bottom line is 66 to maybe 156 to maybe at the max 256. Just know that when you put something on LinkedIn with a URL that is more than 26 characters, they will reconfigure it with a special LinkedIn URL. If it's under 26 characters, then they will keep that LinkedIn URL. My article this week in Vista.today, etc., is exactly on this. You want to post on your homepage so that you have activity. When on social media, get social. So you want to note your views, how many people shared, your likes, your comments. Do any of these turn into inquiries for landings of jobs for my job seekers, or do you get client work because people have found you? And you want to post in groups. You can have up to 100 groups. And again, you want to note your views, your shares, your likes, comments, and the same thing. Does anything turn into job landing or client work? So a lot of times recruiters will post jobs, and I will tag a job seeker that I know that might fit that description, for example. So the same thing is if somebody's looking for somebody with certain business skills, you could do the same thing and tag somebody. So feel free to connect with me. I don't know if you realize this, but on your mobile phone, in the share bar, there are 4 little gray squares at the far right. And when you touch those 4 gray squares, you can get my scan or my code. So that's my code. So you can actually hold your camera, open up your camera, and you can pull up my LinkedIn profile right here, right now, just from that QR code. So just think if you're at a business card exchange, what you can do is, go around and, connect with people instantaneously by just sharing the QR code and the scan feature. And again, as I said at the end, we're all going to do the find nearby. And so that's my 5 little minutes worth of, or 10 minutes worth of 5 tips. You have a question? Any questions? Okay, there's so much more on LinkedIn. Believe me, 11 hours worth of content. This just doesn't even begin to touch the surface. So I'm going to introduce you to Jeff Gibbard.
Before you do that,
yes.
First of all, let's give a round of applause to Lynne, please. Thank you, Lynne. I think that's the fastest you've ever done that presentation, by the way.
It is.
And before we introduce Jeff, where's Aliya? Raise your hand, Aliya. You're still here. Okay. Do you still want to leave at 8:30? Okay. So Aliya told me earlier she wanted to leave at 8:30. So may I ask you, Lynne, to break the schedule just a little bit?
Absolutely.
And let Aliya introduce herself relative to the homework assignment so that she can leave before 8:30 as we promised her. So okay. Aliya, would you take the microphone?
And do you have any workshops coming up?
Grab the microphone, please.
I don't have any workshops currently coming up, but what was the other question?
So I'd like to remind everybody about this idea of the homework assignment. So each of you were handed this form, this piece of paper when you came in, and there's a little form there. If you're interested, it's entirely optional to fill out and tell us which social media platform you might be interested in learning about and applying to your business for, and if you are selected, you can make a presentation about your progress and your results at the April 15th workshop. And the reason I'm asking Aliya to take a moment before she leaves is that she's offered to be the coach for folks interested in her social media platforms, and I wanted Aliya to tell us about what she can offer you as a coach. She has very limited time, but I wanted to give her a moment to tell you about that. So go ahead.
So I'm offering 30 minutes of coaching for the next month on Instagram and or Pinterest, or if you wanted Facebook too or whatever, just to kind of give you some ideas of some things that you can do to maybe help grow your Instagram following or Pinterest following or whatever it might be. Any questions that you might have so that you can improve, when you come back for the next meeting.
Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're quite welcome, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Okay, so I will be in touch with the forms. I'll follow up with you, Aliya. All right, so I would like to introduce you to Jeff Gibbard. Now, I had been connected to Jeff for a while on LinkedIn, but I never met him until the coldest day in January in Philadelphia. I think it was on the windiest night ever. And he has a meetup group, and actually I will be at his meetup group this coming Wednesday. I have found it very valuable to learn about all the things that he has to offer. So when he opened his mouth, I was learning within the first 30 seconds, and he's going to wow you too.
What's up, people? All right, so let's start out with this. My LinkedIn headline is the world's most handsome social media and content marketing strategist. Does anyone here have a better LinkedIn headline than that? I don't think you do.
How many people do you have to block?
Oh, I don't block anyone, but my wife goes and trolls down anybody that starts to reach out to me, female-wise. So that's how one way people know me. The other is that I wear these bright red sneakers. So that's some of the things you'll see. So the presentation I have planned here is 36 tools in about 30 minutes. I've been sitting over here listening to everything that's going on, and I think some of these are going to be a little over some people's heads. Some. A bunch of them are going to be extremely valuable. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm calling a little audible on tonight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run through these tools, and I'm going to save a little bit of time at the end to actually address some of the conversations that have been coming up that I think will help to set the proper frame for you to have some success in social media. So if that sounds good for everybody, let's get going. That's me. That's our Facebook group. So if you join it, that'll give you notifications and everything on the meetup that we do called The Future of Social Media. I'm doing one on Wednesday called A Seat at the Table, understanding how social media fits into an integrated marketing plan. And that's about social media becoming a legitimate marketing channel in your business. So if you'd like to come, you'll see me speak again, which if you enjoyed tonight, you'll enjoy that one too. These are the different tools I'm going to go over, and like I said, it's going to take me about 30 minutes to go through these. That means we are going real fast. There's 36 of them. 30 minutes means I have a minute per slide or less. Who's ready? I love your energy, people, because according to Lynne, you all have the attention span of a goldfish. And you're still with me. Less than a goldfish. Whole school of goldfish here. So thank you for being with me. Let's get going. Okay, first tool, research tool, display purposes. Who here's on Instagram? Say yeah? Okay, so those that are on Instagram, display purposes, this is the most kick-ass hashtag research tool you will ever find. What you do is you go on there, you put in the hashtag you want, and it's going to tell you a whole bunch of other hashtags that are close to it and that you can use. The recommendation is to use anywhere between 1 and 30. My recommendation is 30. There's a lot of data that supports all different things. Use 30. That's what I'm telling you to do. So it also gives you some geographic data as well, so you can look for hashtags that are being used within your zip code. That's pretty neat. It's a really great tool. Next, content. There are two tools that you should be thinking about when you're thinking about what type of content should I be putting out there. Anybody here blog? Say yeah? Yeah. That's weak. Well, if you are blogging or creating videos or doing any sort of content, these two tools can be wonderful for you. There's a free version of BuzzSumo. It allows you to go there, put in a topic, and that'll give you some ideas of things that have been recently shared by other people that are very popular, and that'll give you ideas of content that you should probably create. It's a great tool. Go check it out. Ahrefs, that is actually a cost. So is BuzzSumo, but there's a free version. Next, productivity tools. These are awesome. Pay close attention to what I'm saying. Cheat sheet. iPhone users, hands up. Go. This is for you. Cheat sheet is a tiny little application that creates a keyboard that plugs right into your Messenger and anything that has a keyboard any application where you use a keyboard to type things, you can bring up your cheat sheet keyboard. And what it allows you to do is save snippets of text all together like templates. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? What you do is after you use display purposes and you find all the hashtags you should use, you put them in cheat sheet and then you just press the one button. You don't have to type them out. You're welcome. Okay, next. There's this other tool called Text Expander. This is amazing. This saved me probably about 8 to 10 hours over the last 3 months of typing. Not only that, I run our client strategy department at From the Future. That's the department that interfaces with clients. And we write a lot of the same emails over and over and over. So what did we do? We installed Text Expander for all of them and created templates for everything that they type out regularly. And they just hit something like semicolon hello. And it'll be our hello welcome email. It could be 300, 500, 1,000 words. Saves you a ton of time. You can do things like save hashtags. You can save email templates. There's so many uses for this. This tool, please, just go get this tool. It's so good. Also, since you're getting all the slides, you'll notice at the bottom, I have pricing. I also have the links. Again, you're welcome. Okay, next, shortcuts. iOS users, iPhone users. This is an application that you can create these sort of sequences of steps. This is one of the ones I was talking about that's over your head, so I'm going to move on. But you can check it out if you want. It's really cool. Okay, IFTTT and Zapier. Somebody said something. It was the gentleman back there. Architecture builds cool stuff outside. You had asked, well, what if I want to put it in one place and have it go from Instagram over to Facebook? Here you go, buddy. IFTTT stands for if this, then that. It means if this happens, this trigger, then this action should happen next. For instance, if I post an image on Instagram, then I want you to take that image and post it publicly on my Facebook page. So that's some of the stuff that you can do here. These are both trigger and action tools, which allow you to do all sorts of different things. So for instance, at this event tonight, had I known what the hashtag was in advance, I could set up an if somebody tweets with BCMWC, then add their tweet, their username, and what they put in the link and everything to a spreadsheet. And then I could track you all later. I'm not going to do it, though. Okay, next, content tools. This tool, super dope, meaning very cool for those that are over 50. Dope means cool. Okay, so what it is it's basically a free video app where you go onto the internet, which is, you hit the dial-up and it brings you onto the internets. And this is a tool where you can upload text, you can upload audio, and you can create these really kick-ass videos. For those of you who are using Instagram, which I heard a couple of you say, hell yeah, what you do is you can take a graphic and upload it into this tool called Headliner, and then you can upload an audio file with it and create something that's known as an audiogram. That's probably not going to make a lot of sense to you, but what it essentially is it's a short video that has a static image and then like a wave bar that represents voice, and that becomes a really cool looking little piece of graphic you can put on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all the different places. It's real neat. Okay, InShot. This is a video editing tool. Now, I can sense that just about 98% of you are expert video editors, but in case you're not, InShot is a very good tool for iOS that allows you to add text, do some very basic editing, and other cool stuff. And if you don't want to do the video editing yourself, just do what I do and bring along your friend Tim, who does video. You should talk to him later. He's brilliant. Also, there's people at the back that shoot video too, but Tim's great. I like you too. Okay, so great tool. Next, TubeBuddy. Anybody here use YouTube? Nobody talked about YouTube tonight. What's up with that? Okay. I want to talk about a thing. I'm just going to go off book. We've been having these conversations about demographics tonight. Everybody's been saying, well, who's on LinkedIn? Who's on Pinterest? Who's on Instagram? Here's the answer. Everyone is everywhere. The question is whether or not you can reach them, okay? So there are 70-year-olds on Snapchat. I'm not kidding you. They exist. They're not in large numbers, and they're very hard to reach. But on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Pinterest and YouTube, you can advertise. And if a platform gives you advertisements, you can target based upon age and generally interests. So that's the big thing here, right? So TubeBuddy is this really kick-ass tool for YouTube that allows you to figure out the keywords you should use and the tags and all those different things. But back to my original point, you should be using YouTube and Facebook most likely because over 70% of virtually every demographic are using both of those tools. YouTube is the most, write this down, YouTube is the most important social network and tool of the next 5 years. Everybody uses video. Every person here has watched a YouTube video, guarantee it. And even if people aren't on YouTube, if you send them a YouTube video, guess what they're going to do? They're going to watch it. Okay, so YouTube, super important. Facebook, super important. This tool, really cool. Loom. Anybody here do any product demos or want to explain to their staff how to do something? Anybody? Am I the only one who has processes and staff? Okay, cool. Loom is a browser plugin for Chrome. It allows you to record your screen as you're doing stuff. So in my case, I have entire teams of people that I have to show how to do different processes. So I could sit down with each of them, and I love doing that too, because my team is awesome. But sometimes I want to stay at home or work from home or do something, so I record these nifty little screencasts, and it records my screen, and I can annotate it, and then I can just send them the link, and they can learn how to do the thing. It's free. Free. No monies. Questions at the end. That's how I'm doing it. But I see it. I got you. I got you, Trump. Okay. This app, oh my God. Okay, so there's a couple apps I'm going to highlight and be like, oh my God, you guys, you got to use this. No, but seriously, this app, it's called Drafts. It's only for iOS to my knowledge. What it does, you're not going to believe this, it transcribes your voice as you speak. What? How are you guys not screaming and yelling and losing your minds? It's the most amazing thing. Let me give you an example of why that's amazing. Okay. So Drafts is this app, sits on your phone. You open it up and you go, blah, 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 and it writes down blah, 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 blah. So if you wanted to write a blog post, what are you doing right now? You're probably going to sit down with a cup of coffee, you're going to stare at the blinking cursor for 6 minutes, and then you're going to go elsewhere, and then, listen, just open up the app and start spitting out everything that you want to say about whatever your topic is, and you'll be able to write that much faster because you just go back and clean it up. Give you an example of how this works. I wrote a 15,000 word blog post in 6 hours using this. You can now have no excuse left not to start a blog or to write something, whether it be on your LinkedIn publishing platform or on Medium or on your own website, or even just writing a lengthy and interesting Facebook post. This tool will help you. This is one you write down. This is one you download. Next, Q. Who here has a hard time putting enough content on their social media site? Say hell yeah. Okay, so what you're going to do is go to QUU.co. You're going to sign up and you're going to pick your topics, and it's automatically going to put really kick-ass content automatically on your Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I just saved you guys a ton of time.
What are the copyright issues?
No copyright issues. People submit the content that they want to be sent around. It's all public on the web. It's just interesting, curated content around specific topics. So if you're interested in SEO or manufacturing or whatever the topics they have, they'll pick from a curated list of stuff and put it out, and your fans are going to love you for it. People retweet my stuff all the time, and they're like, man, you find such good stuff. And I'm like, don't I? I do. I also post my own stuff. I'm just saying it's helpful. Canva. Anybody know what Canva is? Yeah. Anybody not know what Canva is? Hands up. Okay. Canva is graphic design for dummies. They have all of the different social media templates and sizes. So you heard Aliya say something about the vertical graphics for Pinterest. Guess what? They've got a template. You go in there, you drop in your graphics. You can even use their layouts. It's a really awesome tool. Literally every social media professional knows about this, and about 85% of us use it. It's really awesome. Next. Typorama. iOS app allows you to put text over images. Can be really helpful. It's not super complex. Not going to spend a lot of time on this one. Unsplash. Awesome. Anybody here have trouble finding really high quality images for their website or their social media posts? Well, I've got you covered. Unsplash is the free, royalty-free, high quality splash imagery site. Tried to do that fast and it didn't work. This is a great site. You go in there and you put in whatever topic you want, and you'll find free to use, royalty-free, high-quality stock images. Pablo by Buffer does very much the same thing. I'm going to move past it. Grid Post. This allows you, if you want to do one of those really cool Instagrams where when you go to their profile, it's like 9 pictures or 5 pictures or 3 pictures all clumped together that make one big picture. I wouldn't recommend you do it, but if you felt like doing it, you could do it. Next, reporting tools. Numerics. Again, over your head, I'm going to move past it. Google Data Studio, way over our heads. We're definitely moving past this one. Google Sheets. Now this, I think you guys could use this one. Anybody here ever use a spreadsheet? You all did. I know. Google Sheets is just online and you can share it with people and it's really great. It's really cool. Okay, management tools. A lot of you have probably said, I want to better manage my social media. First piece of advice, you're probably not big enough or complex enough to actually need one of these. Just go to Facebook and post. Just go to LinkedIn and post. Just go to Twitter and post. If you want to schedule, these can be helpful. You're probably not digging deep, deep, deep into analytics. Don't worry about that yet. But if you want to schedule things, here are some of them. I personally think Hootsuite's pretty awesome. Personally think Buffer's pretty cool. But again, don't make yourself nuts about these things. It's more important for you to focus on the quality of what you're doing than the quantity or the scheduling or the tools. Even though I'm doing a presentation about tools, it's more important that you think about the relationship that you're trying to build there and what you're trying to get out of it. Audience tools. Okay, so a lot of people talk to me about how do I grow my audience? How do I get a bigger following? So here's the truth. I'm a straight shooter. I'm not going to lie to you people. This is the truth about audience development. There are 3 primary ways to grow an audience on social media. Ready? Here it goes. Number 1, be famous already. Anybody here famous? Solid. Everyone except for this gentleman here is pretty much crap out of luck. Number 2 is that you can be really interesting and high value and consistent. It is the hard work version of it. It's like, what's the way to lose weight? Eat healthy and exercise. That's the one you don't want to hear about, but it's the truth. If you are patient and you are valuable and you connect with people and you put out great content and you know what you're doing and you do it consistently, you'll grow an audience. But it's going to take you time. And the third one is a technique that everybody in social media really hates, but it's really effective, which is follow, unfollow. So you follow a whole bunch of people, and some of them will follow you back. And then you unfollow the people that don't, and you move on about your life and do it again. This is a tool, should you choose to take that route, for Twitter. It's called Refollow. You sign up. It's about $29 a month for one account, 50 for 2 or 3 or something. Not quite sure. It's down here. Nope. It says free. Bad intern. Okay. But you put in your different criteria. What kind of influence score? How many followers? When's their last tweet? Do they have a verified badge like I do? That's right. I got a blue check mark. All those sort of criteria, and then you can set it to follow, unfollow. You basically go on there, hold the F button. It's actually, I think, technically against Twitter's terms of service, but I'm telling you about it. Gramista. It's basically the same thing for Instagram. You put in what it is that you're looking for by hashtag, by location, any number of different criteria, and it'll follow and unfollow and even comment, which I don't recommend. There's an auto comment feature. Don't ever turn that on, because I've seen things where people will have that turned on and they'll go to somebody's post on Instagram about how their dog just died and they're like, great content. Doesn't go over well at all. Never turn that on. But the follow, unfollow, it's debatable. This is in case you decided to take that advice and follow a whole bunch of people. This will allow you to unfollow them pretty easily. So it's called IG Cleaner. It's on your iPhone, and it makes it really easy to unfollow a whole bunch of people. Next, other tools. Google. Okay, this one's really badass, so pay attention to this one. Remember I told you I'd highlight them. Google gives you everything you need to be freaking awesome. So you can use Chrome, which is an amazing web browser. If you're not using it already, you should. And what you do is you can actually use, create a separate Gmail account. Call it like jeffgibbardsocial@gmail.com. That's not the actual one I use, but I'm giving you an example. And what you do is you set your social media notifications to go to that separate address. And the cool part about that is it doesn't clog up your primary email. And then when you want to go and find out where you connected with people, who followed you, who liked your stuff, you simply go in there and you put in their name, and it'll bring up every interaction you've had across social. We've all been looking for the ideal social CRM, and you could spend a bunch of money on Nimble and all these other platforms, or you can just get a free Gmail account and set up your notifications to go there. It's really useful, and you should do it. Funalytics, Grammarly. Grammarly is a really kick-ass tool. Basically, it helps if you're not an amazing writer or your spelling is not superb. For instance, who here can spell chrysanthemum? If you can spell chrysanthemum right now, I will give you a half an hour free consulting. I have no idea how chrysanthemum is spelled. You called my bluff, people. You called my bluff. That was a lie. I don't know how to spell. I don't know how to spell that word. I'm sorry. Crap, you caught me. Okay, so Grammarly is a
false advertising.
I know. This is not healthy. Are you recording that? So Grammarly basically will catch a lot of your misspellings. It'll catch bad grammar. It's a plugin for Chrome. It's really, really helpful. Use it when you're writing and such. Facebook Pixel, this is so if you want to find out whether or not a website is tracking you for remarketing ads. PS remarketing ads, in case you don't know, are the ones where you're like, ooh, this watch looks nice on a website. Then you're like, I'm going to go to Facebook. Oh, it's the watch. It's following me. That's remarketing. So this pixel, which I believe you were speaking about earlier, right? So the remarketing pixel essentially allows Facebook and advertisers like myself to track you around the web and show you things that we want you to see after you've expressed some interest. This little Chrome plugin will help you to see if it's on a website. That's all of them, okay? And then one more thing. You haven't been tweeting, but if you go to bit.ly /FTF freebies, freebies, we have a bunch of things here. So for one, if you decide to go and set up that social CRM that I told you about using Gmail, you can download all of the filters, which will automatically bring in everything from every social site and automatically organize it for you. Yes, you're welcome. Took me a long time to build it. Google Sheet, comprehensive social media publishing calendar. Somebody asked about the best planning tools. I can't remember who it was. The best planning tool is your brain. And what you need is just a simple, like often my best planning is nah, y'all got a big one. You came to see me. Y'all must be pretty smart. So what you need is just like a sheet of paper and a couple good thoughts. So I gave you this nifty social publishing calendar, and by nifty, I mean, yo, this thing is amazing. Not only will it allow you to just lay out how you want to publish things when, but I give you all the secret sauce to making sure that your posts are shareable. Like thinking about what type of emotion you want to evoke. Thinking about what type of content. Do you want to do a poll? Do you want to do a quiz, a testimonial? This thing is loaded with awesome sauce, and I did it just for you. Actually, I brought it from my last meetup. I'm sorry. The ultimate free social content research tool. This thing is a monster, and it's going to probably be over most of your heads. But at least one of you is going to get value out of this. What it basically is there's a process for coming up with content ideas where you search, say, I'll give you a good example. You go to Amazon, and you look for a book in your product category. And then you go and you look for the top-selling books. And then you go in and look at the reviews and go to the 1- and 2-star reviews. Figure out what those top-selling books are missing. You've got a new content topic that you can write about. I know, right? I didn't think it up. I found it. But this tool I built where you can essentially go in and do a simple find and replace, and it'll provide you with the links to go and do all of the manual research you need to do. It's a great tool. Final thing is, a lot of people will talk about return on investment and return on ad spend. Doug has been very graciously reminding us all night about the importance of coming back to sales. This tool will just simply help you to understand how much have I been spending, how much did I make, and what was my return on investment. Please go download all these tools. I put them together just for you guys. Join the Facebook group. That's me. I did that on Snapchat. I think it's funny. Here are the different places where you can find me. I have a really kick-ass podcast called Shareable where I talk about the impact of people and technology on our lives and careers. I'm a phenomenal host. My voice has a soothing quality to it. And that's my homepage where you can read my blog. I just wrote a post today called Purgatory, and it's about LinkedIn connection requests from people who you have no idea who they are, and they don't put any context, so they just sit in that connection request for 3 years. That's my punishment to them. And finally, that's my agency, FTF Agency. We are a world-class digital strategy agency specializing in technical SEO. That's really, really high-level, super in-depth SEO. Social media marketing and content marketing, which is my area of expertise, along with influencer marketing. And then we also do UX design and website development. So these are all the places you can find me, and all the different things you can watch of mine, and all the different content. And now I'm going to open it up to some questions. I'm going to give you the real deal, real talk about answers. I don't know how much time we have. Perfect, 15 minutes. Let's do it.
Instead of Pixel Checker, use Privacy Badger. You'll get all of them.
Oh, Ghostery works as well. Again, that was another one I was like, probably going to be too high. What else?
Pixel Checker.
This is the one that I said was Pixel Checker. The one you said was Privacy Badger. Oh, I love them. They're awesome. I also would recommend, if you're really interested in considering your privacy, 1, don't use Chrome, use Firefox. 2, set your search engine to DuckDuckGo. And 3, install the Ghostery plugin. And now all of a sudden you get to enjoy the web mostly free from prying eyes.
As a security person, I condone every single thing he just said.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience?
Does anybody else want to condone things I said? Anybody?
So Jeff, when we talked on the conference call, you made a distinction between marketing strategy, social media marketing strategy, and social media sales strategy.
Yep.
In 30 seconds or less, what's the difference from your perspective?
I love how you added the 30 seconds or less. Now I got to talk like the Micro Machines guy, and I know you all understand that reference. Okay, so the difference between social media marketing and social media sales is that social media marketing is about building awareness and moving people through the buying journey, but it's not exactly asking them to buy. Whereas social media sales is where you're actually providing a call to action that involves somebody handing you over money. That's the simple answer. Now, let me give you a little bit more color outside of the 30 seconds I was allotted. The fundamental truth about social media is there are really only about 5 strategies that truly work. There's a bunch of others for specific use cases, but if you're a social media or you're a marketer and you want to use social media to grow your business, truth of the matter is there's about 5 strategies you can use. The first one is going to be creating content and amplifying it with ads. That's probably the most popular and most effective strategy right now because you can target people at all phases of the buyer journey. The next is going to be doing one-to-one direct outreach. That is like, hi, I see that you're interested in this thing that I do. We should form a relationship, have coffee, and do things. That's a really bad summary of it, but it's ultimately a one-to-one outreach, right? Next is going to be something where you reach the new audience through an intermediary channel. This is like influencer marketing or PR 3.0, I guess you could call it, which is that, for instance, if I know that Shana has access to an audience that I want, I would talk to her and say, hey, I'd really like to reach your audience. How could we partner up and make that happen? This ideally works when you're in 2 different industries or something like that. Then the other ones that you're going to be looking at are things like, social listening to understand what you can improve about your products or services, and then there's customer service strategies. But the big 3 are the ones that I just mentioned. Sales happens at the first 2, which is that if you do content and you amplify it with ads and that call to action is to bring people back to your site to buy stuff, that's sales. If you reach out to someone one-to-one, you nurture that relationship and you turn it into something by being valuable, interesting, and handsome, then you could definitely close a sale. That's the short answer.
That was a little more than 30 seconds.
Well, I told you I was adding more color outside of the 30.
That's fine. Any other questions? Let's give Jeff a great round of applause, please.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to drop the mic. I'm going to drop it. Just kidding.